This is Next Steps for Seniors with your host, Wendy Jones. Each week, Wendy brings resources and information to help guide you through those next steps with elderly parents and loved ones. You can follow, subscribe, and share on your favorite podcast platform. If you have questions or topic suggestions for Wendy, you can call us at 248-651-5010 or email at hello@nextstepsforseniors.com.
Hello and welcome to Next Steps for Seniors, Conversations on Aging. As you all know, such a passion I have to share information, especially this time of year. As we go into the holidays, all of the families and the caregivers that are just pouring their souls and their spirits and their hearts out to their loved ones who need support right now. And this is a difficult time for you. And we are here for you, Next Steps for Seniors. So I wanted to share with you today, we have Erica Ancel, who is our Director of Operations here at Next Steps for Seniors, is a certified dementia practitioner and really understands, because of all of her experience, what caregivers are going through, especially those that may have some memory issues. And I love that you're here with us today, Erica, back by popular demand.
Thanks so much, Wendy. I'm always excited and happy to be able to come on the podcast and talk more about what we're passionate about, which is the seniors and our families and how we're really able to connect with them at a deeper level.
Exactly. There is so much going on every single day, but over the holidays, it seems to just be exasperated, right?
Absolutely. Well, and we came out of a busy season from summer, and then we slowed down a little bit, and we really get to connect with our families over the next several weeks during the holiday season. It's Thanksgiving, it's Christmas, it's New Year's, and everybody has traditions, but it can also be overwhelming because we're shopping, and we've got kids' plays and everything else that goes along with the work Christmas party. And slowing down to make sure we still see our parents who we know have maybe struggled a little bit over the fall because we got to see them a little bit more.
Right, right. And you know what's so interesting, and I think this is good just for all of us to really process. The hustle and bustle, like you just talked about, is a real thing, and everybody knows it. But for someone whose memory isn't what it used to be, it's difficult because they can't keep up. Like we just in our minds need to just go slow-mo, right? Go just slow motion, just bring everything down a little bit so that it's not overwhelming. And it's similar to when you had children and they got just stimulated too much, right? And you had to move them into another room. Please be cognizant of that stimulation being too much. And that's what you're here to talk about today.
Absolutely. So one of the most important things that I always stress to our families who call in, family members who call me, and other people out in public is we have about 37 things going on in our brain. But right now, survival, walking through TJ Maxx, for instance, like I was this past weekend, and your loved one who is there shopping with you because they love shopping are overstimulated because it's not their normal environment. There's a lot of people. There's a lot of noise. It's getting darker earlier. The level of vitamin D is low, and overstimulation is a real thing, especially with those who are suffering from memory loss.
Yeah, let's talk about that darkness for a second. I think we're all struggling with that. This time change is a killer.
You know, the darkness coming sooner can exacerbate something called sundowners. And I know we recently talked about it on a podcast, but it is truly because of your circadian rhythm, and it's throwing off their normal because for the last 6 months, they got up at between 6 and 7 and it was light outside. And they went to bed between 8 and 11, and it got dark between 8 and 10. And then their day started getting shorter, and they couldn't complete all the tasks they wanted to do while they were out and it was light outside. And then they got frustrated, so they gave up on a project. And then you coming over at dinner time, and it's dark out, and maybe they're getting more frustrated with you, but maybe it's not you. So it's so important to recognize that when your loved ones get frustrated with you in the evening, it's often because we have to slow down, but they have to understand that we have lives. So
this is healthy for everyone. I'm not going to lie. I mean, just as you're talking, I'm like, okay, we all need to slow down and smell the roses for real.
Absolutely.
I mean, so this is just an extra level of paying attention to that. So let's talk a little bit about the CARE acronym, because that's an easy thing that our listeners can kind of remember. So C stands for, explain that to our listeners.
C stands for connecting with intention. So think back, if you read the Love Languages book, it is quality time, not acts of service.
Yep.
It is taking every single action, even if it's a routine task that you're coming over to take mom's trash out to the end of the road, is to connect with them and sit down and be where they are at. But also, it helps bring us down to ground us a little bit more as caregivers when we sit down and go, Mom, it's been really busy, or Dad, I've got a lot going on in my house. I can't stay for long. But if you can take those 15 minutes and smile, ask them how their day's going, because there's a good possibility it's been the same day. It's Groundhog's Day for several years in a row. But that asking, how are you today, is so important, because that means you care, and you're showing that you care. And your parents love spending time with you.
And there's something about kindness that really makes the world go round, right? And to be empathetic and kind and loving and just slow down and just look them in the eyes, hold their hand, personal touch, like you said, quality time. It's so important to our loved ones.
It's so important, but it's important to feed our souls as caregivers too, is slowing down and going, I really get to spend quality time with my loved one. And I've spent a lot of quality time, but maybe the last couple of years, life has gotten in your way.
It goes fast. There's no doubt about it. So we need to definitely take a deep breath and pay attention, because guess what? Later, you're going to regret it. And that's what we're trying to avoid right now. We want you to spend the time that you have while you have it with your loved ones. They're not here forever.
Well, and not only that, Wendy, it's projecting forward. What do you want when you're in those shoes?
Exactly.
So A in the CARE acronym is acknowledge. It's acknowledging your loved one's dignity and your own effort. So we tie that right back into care, right? We want to see the person behind their needs, whether that's helping them get a shower or dressing or even just swapping their laundry. Honor your own compassion for being there for them, but living in the moment and not the 17 tasks that you have beyond the 30 minutes that you have assigned for that day. You're able to live in that moment and exist and meet your loved one or that person you're serving where they're at today.
Yeah, I love this because, noticing their moods and needs and the emotion in the moment and being present in what's happening is so key.
Well, it helps center all of us a little bit more, because those people that are suffering from dementia and memory impairment and memory loss, we are living in their world.
Right.
They're not relative to ours any longer. And we have to take a step back.
That's a good way to say it too. I like that you said that.
Yep. So we're in their world, and we have to slow it down and think, life isn't so bad. We can do this.
This is a good lesson for all of us. And really, when I think through the process, you just have to say, you look at your whole world, your arms are wide open and you see everything. And you just take your arms and just bring them closer together. And like your hands are probably 5 inches apart. That's the world you're working in with right now, right? So you just kind of got to narrow everything down, talk a little slower, repeat yourself a couple times, have patience. There's a song, Have Patience. My husband often sings it to me, but anyway. But, these are the things that we're all learning from you right now. So I just appreciate you so much, Erica. Okay, so what about our...
reflecting upon the conversation. So ask yourself, what did I learn today? I learned all sorts of new things when I talk to our aging older adults when I walk in to communities.
You're so right, because we move too fast and we're on to the next thing and we're not reflecting on what just happened.
We can learn a lot from them of how simple life was and how we can connect back to those roots. We learn how to bank better from them because, let's face it, some of these boomers, they have been able to save
Absolutely.
a lot of money.
Absolutely. We
But
have
also,
something to learn.
But quality time with their grandkids and their children, that they used to sit down at the dinner table and help with homework after dinner or before dinner. So really, it's, what did this moment teach me? After you leave and have that conversation with someone, reflect back and honor that their life and your life are so parallel, but can be vastly different, but meeting them where they're at and saying, I can see how that worked for you, and maybe I can apply some of that to my life as well.
We're going to get into E in the next segment because I want you to share a story with us too, because I think it's important to understand. And we are in their world. I think I love that you said that, because the reality is they're not going to change. We are the ones that need to adapt and change. And this is growing all of us, honestly. And this is an opportunity for us to really make a difference in the family, make a difference in your siblings, encourage and engage people throughout, right, to make a difference. So you're listening to Next Steps for Seniors, Conversations on Aging. We'll be back in just a moment to talk more about the CARE acronym.
This Christmas, give more than just a gift. Give encouragement, inspiration, and joy. In the Crosswalk Holiday Gift Guide, you'll discover a curated collection of meaningful books and devotionals that celebrate faith, family, and the real reason for the season. This Christmas, we invite you to share comfort, quiet, or excitement with each person on your gift list. From beautifully illustrated Bibles and devotionals to novels and picture books, this guide holds the perfect book for every reader, including yourself. So stuff those stories into stockings, wrap collections with care, tuck a book or two into your own nightstand, and join us in celebrating the wonder of reading this Christmas. Explore the Crosswalk Holiday Gift Guide and find something special for everyone on your list. Visit crosswalk.com/gift guide today.
Welcome back to Next Steps for Seniors, Conversations on Aging. So blessed to be here today with Erica Ancel. She is the Director of Operations at Next Steps for Seniors, the business, here in Michigan, and also a certified dementia practitioner, and has a lot of experience in assisted living and memory care communities where she worked hand in hand daily with seniors. So we're very blessed to have you, Erica. And really our goal is just to share information, to give you tips, to give you information that you can use in your current situation because of the holidays and all the things going on. The hustle and bustle's a lot, and we've got to take a minute and slow down and think of those who are caring for other people. So the CARE, C-A-R-E acronym, we talked about the C being connect, the A acknowledge, and the R reflect in our first segment. So let's go into E.
Empowerment.
Love the word. Love it.
E is all about empowerment. It is encouraging independence for your loved one. It is celebrating small wins. It is empowering that person you're taking care of to do a portion of the task that you're helping to provide. You know, a great story for me with empowerment is, you know, your dad can't get his button-up shirts on anymore because he doesn't have the dexterity to do the buttons up. Or he can't lift back. He can't move his arm back to put the buttons in. But you know what he can do? He can get one arm in. Awesome, Dad. Great job. Can you bend back a little bit? And you do it. You know, but you let him do, and you get button closers for him so he can put the loop through the buttonhole and grab the button and pull it through. And you teach them how to do the tasks just a little bit differently. But it's all about empowerment and empowering yourself and celebrating that you let them win. Let mom put the glasses away out of the dishwasher.
Yep. You know, as you're talking, are snaps easier for seniors or buttons? I mean, I'm like, buy a new shirt. You're like, you're talking about patience, and I'm like, oh, go buy a different shirt. But you're right.
Yeah. No, so some snaps are easier, and some people have dexterity issues because maybe they worked on machinery their whole life, and they can't feel the tips of their fingers because they dealt with vibrations too often, so they can't click. But what they can do is isolate a button and put the button holder, because it's about the size of a pen,
Right.
or a butter knife, and it goes through the hole. You put it around the button and you pull it back through, and then you take it off.
Makes sense.
It's just a loop.
Well, and I'm just going to go into the shoes for 1 second. I know this is a little bit of a squirrel, but what's your take on that? Because we don't need to tie our shoes when we're 80 years old. We can do the slip-on, but please have a heel and make sure they're safe. Shoes with rubber bottoms.
Shoes, rubber bottoms with good grips. They should be replaced every 6 months. And when mom and dad get up during the day, we really should encourage them to wear shoes in their house, even though
Ooh, I like this.
you would be just obliterated when you were a kid walking into mom's house.
I'm glad
with
I
your
wasn't the
shoes
only
on.
one.
But it is so important for them to wear their shoes, and getting them good shoes that are slip-ons and providing them with a shoe horn to help
Game changer.
complete
Thank you.
that task.
Game changer. Okay, I didn't mean to bring you off there, but empower. So back to that. I totally love this.
So it's empowerment is really empowering yourself to allow them to do something, but also celebrate that you help them complete a task that maybe they haven't done in a while. Maybe mom really enjoys doing the dishes, but she can't stand there, but you can hand her a towel and she can wash them after the holiday dinner. You know, she can dry them and put them on the countertop while somebody else puts it in the cabinetry.
If they're used to doing it, absolutely. So, you know, the other E that I like is engage, because the reality is we have to keep dialogue open, like you mentioned, because we want to continue to ask questions, share stories with them, and just really listen to what their responses are too, not just always be the talker.
Yes, actively listening is something that everybody should engage. If you have a minute, you can find a couple of different shows and pieces of information, articles about actively listening. But it's so important because the undertone of a lot of what the conversations are that you have are so much more impactful because you truly understand the message.
Right. So write this down. Write the C, connect, A, acknowledge, R, reflect, and E, empower. Because this can be something that you just have in front of you on your bathroom mirror, whatever, just as a reminder to do this on a daily, right? It'll make a huge difference in the lives of everybody.
It'll make a huge difference in the lives of everybody, young and old.
Amen. So talk to us a little bit about, ideas to connect with intention.
This is probably my favorite one because
I knew that about you.
I had a family that played cards and dominoes, and connecting with intention truly is connecting with that person. If you know that dad played dominoes his whole life, even at lunch after work, or, at work, and play dominoes at night with him. Sit at the dining room table, because if we reflect backwards, your connection with your loved ones often happen before and after dinner at the dinner table. Bring over your children or your grandchildren, your high school students, and say, my dad's really good at math. Hey, Dad, can you help Sarah with this math question? It is so impactful because then they feel included and they're still part of the family, because oftentimes, because we're busy and school has changed so much and so dramatically.
Yeah, now they just go online and Google it. Let's not do that. Agreed.
But being able to provide that connection is just so important to connect the young and the old, to really help preserve some of those traditions.
Amen. And have your kids listen to the stories. When we're talking about the holidays, this is an incredible time to pour into the next generation, sharing stories and doing things like that.
So acknowledge. So important. And one thing that I always talk about with acknowledgement is we want to acknowledge who they are and where they're at. So Wendy talks about, move your arms, and what their focus is what they can see. Their whole life often are their four walls of their home, right? 600 to 2,500 square feet. Their world revolves in that home. For individuals who have memory impairment and dementia, they're often at a different place. And when we're calling out for dad, but dad doesn't necessarily recognize that he's dad, even though he recognizes you as an important person, switching over to their first name, because sometimes John doesn't remember that he's Jad, but he'll always be John because that was the first name that he was given.
Ooh, this is good.
Sometimes we have to move to their given or preferred name because sometimes we think that we're younger and we're back to work and that we're starting to date our wives, and we get mixed up with our daughters being our wife because they look so familiar. And you are constantly reminding them you're Caroline, but mom's name was Catherine. But if you can say, absolutely, let's go do that. You know, Caroline's an awfully pretty daughter, and take him to your photo and say, this is Caroline. I'm actually Caroline. And he'll see the photo in his house and recognize it, that it's his house, it's his photo and his daughter. But recognizing that John...
Patiently and lovingly, yes.
Yeah, sometimes John is still John.
And not Dad. Got you. This is good to hear. Hard to hear, but good to hear. So think of your loved ones as the first thing you lose is your most frequent memories. So they're in their minds, they're back, 20, 30 years, 40 years sometimes. So when they say they want to go home, a lot of times they're talking about their initial home that they may have been grown up, right? That they grew up in. So just having those patients, but that's why the storytelling is so important from a long time ago, right?
Absolutely. And reflecting on the past allows them to be able to connect with you because
and be
they
involved.
Feel a connection with you when they get to tell you stories about when they were young, even though they're relevant maybe sometimes to today for them. Being able to reflect allows us to connect and have acknowledgement of where they're at, but it also allows us to reflect what they did for us, which is a big part of that our portion, reflecting what did they do for us? How did you connect with them when you were young?
Prior.
But also, how do you connect with your other loved ones?
Okay, we got 1 minute left in the program. I know you have so much to say. So share, if some people are just tuning in, what is a takeaway? What do you want people to walk away with today and say, this is what I'm going to do differently this holiday season?
The one takeaway I want is to slow down. And very quickly, I want to tell you just a quick story to help slow you down a little bit. Empowerment is probably my favorite. This past weekend, I was shopping at a TJ Maxx, and a young woman was shopping with her older mother, who was probably in her mid to late 80s, would be, I would guess. She kept looking at a shirt and picking it up and saying, honey, I really like this one. But mom had lost about 100 pounds in the last 10 to 12 years, and she was looking at a size that was an extra large and not looking at a size small. So the daughter kept getting frustrated. That's not your right size. And I walked over and I said, hi, how are you? Introduced myself. I said, can I tell you how to interact with your mom? And I talked to her and I said, that's a beautiful shirt. It looks a little big for you. Let's walk over here and see if they have one a little bit smaller, just to reframe her mind.
I love it. And that worked. Oh, that's fantastic. Thank you, Erica. We appreciate you. Thank you for tuning into Next Steps for Seniors, Conversations on Aging. Go make a difference this holiday and take time.
This Christmas, give more than just a gift. Give encouragement, inspiration, and joy. In the Crosswalk Holiday Gift Guide, you'll discover a curated collection of meaningful books and devotionals that celebrate faith, family, and the real reason for the season. This Christmas, we invite you to share comfort, quiet, or excitement with each person on your gift list. From beautifully illustrated Bibles and devotionals to novels and picture books, this guide holds the perfect book for every reader, including yourself. So stuff those stories into stockings, wrap collections with care, tuck a book or two into your own nightstand, and join us in celebrating the wonder of reading this Christmas. Explore the Crosswalk Holiday Gift Guide and find something special for everyone on your list. Visit crosswalk.com/gift guide today.